This video is a combination of two videos by Matt Aspland, both the subtitle system and letter-by-letter text tutorial. Both of these videos are linked in the description, so this video explains how to combine those two systems and also how to manage dialogue using spreadsheets and exported CSV files. Matt's YouTube channel is a great place to learn about Unreal Engine. Go ahead and show him some care and head over to his channel to subscribe for consistent, high-quality content. Hello. Alright, this is the voiceover and we're going to talk about what we're actually doing here. Those gaps in the recording, those were noise cancellation kind of tails to get the noise profile in Audacity so we can run a noise cancellation. That's what we just did. Now we're cutting out little kind of those noises that aren't that good in dialogue. Unless you're like deliberately trying to make ASMR with like mouth noises or something. However, right now we're just processing the audio. We're trying to normalize it, add a compressor to it. Once we're done with that, we're just putting it in a spreadsheet here. There's a pretty simple equation in the spreadsheet, so you can look at the bottom of Audacity, and if you turn on the milliseconds on the time tab, wherever you put the timeline, you'll see the actual time. And then you can throw that into the total time, and then to calculate the time in between each line, it's a fairly simple equation of subtracting the time before it with the new time, and that will give you the distance between each line, which is the time we're going to need in Unreal to actually time out the subtitle effect. And as you go through this process, feel free to keep editing the clip. I'm noticing little kind of timing issues and pops in the sound that I can edit out. As long as you keep the timing correct, then that's more than fine to do. After you have everything inputted, you can just export it as a CSV file, which is comma separated values. So it's just going to be a text file, and then all the values in the spreadsheet are just separated by commas. And Unreal can actually import CSV files, which is a really cool feature, because that way you can use this for like game balance or dialogue. You can have multiple sheets for different sections of dialogue if you want to if you have multiple characters or multiple interactions, and then you have a different sheet per dialogue, and then you can update them in your documentation. You don't have to do it in Unreal. It's better to edit that in spreadsheets where you have spell check. Here we go, and we just made an Unreal project. It's just a third-person template. We just duplicated the third person and we got it in a sphere collider here. And we are using the on event overlap and on event overlap end. We're just checking for the player. We're leaving that blank since actually there's one more check we need to do, but we'll need a variable to check. So I'm just leaving it blank. I am using spawn sound in, which is different than play sound at location. And the reason to spawn it in is so we can turn it off if we want. So the way this system is going to be set up is when you move away from the character, the sound will stop playing. Here we're setting up our structure for the spreadsheet. Same variables as the video, which is just the text and the time as text and a float. And then we just imported the CSV file just like that. You noticed it did give you a warning because we had one additional line on our spreadsheet that's not in the spreadsheet in Unreal, the total time. Not a problem though. Unreal will just cut it out and it will just let you know, which is fine since we don't actually use the total time. Now we're making a widget. We just threw a text in there. I'm just putting it on the top left side of the screen so it is easy to read as it gets typed out. Here I'm going to clear the text at the start just because I like having something in the text just so I can preview it to see if my widget's spawning, which we're going to do now. We're just going to test to see, hey, does this widget actually get spawned in correctly? Making a reference to this widget, and we're going to use to check, and we're only going to run this if the widget is not already active. We don't want to spawn in a second widget. There's already a widget there. And in a similar sense, we only want to remove the widget if the widget is already there, and then we'll set that variable to null. And we want to remove the sound as well. So we'll stop that sound and then destroy the component. It's not actually working since we are clearing the text. So it's spawning in. So let's check there with the not text, and you can see it pop up on the top left. Okay, so now let's get the actual text writing system. We're going to need the data table. We're going to need a few variables. These are the same variables as before. We're just basically creating those two systems and then merging them together. We're going to need both a table index and a letter index, and those are going to be separate variables. Here we're going to use the table index, which you actually want to set the table index to 1. It's set to 0 right now, and that will actually cause us problems later, but we'll fix it. So we're just grabbing the index of the table we need and putting it into the input text. And then what we're doing here, we're referencing the table again, but we want to know the time of the thing that comes just after. Like how long are we going to wait? And then we will divide this in order to know how much time we should spend on each letter. Since we can't just have the letter time as like a set, well, technically you can, but the problem is if you have it as just a fixed value, there's going to be a chance it doesn't actually type all the letters by the time it's done, which will cause problems. So we're just taking the length of each thing it needs to type, how many letters it needs to type, and we're dividing that by the time. And then we're adding 1 so that way it makes sure it does actually finish. And then I'm adding a ratio in there to if we want it to type a bit faster than the maximum time, so that way the letter finishes a bit before the text actually goes off screen. You don't want the final letter to appear and then it immediately disappear. I prefer it to finish typing out and then go away just a little bit after that. So I'm increasing the ratio a bit. And here we're just setting up the text typing system. So we're getting an array of the string and we are putting it into the display text, and we are amending it or appending it into the display text. So that way one letter appears at a time. And we'll have this finish once it has typed out every letter, which is once it has gone, the index of the letters is equal to the length of the letter index array, or the letter array. Here it's not working, but that's just because we forgot to put the table in there in our profile. So we link that there. And again, you can set this per character. That's a nice thing about this system. It's still not showing up, but that's just because we need to set the table index to 1. And as soon as we set that, there it goes. So just making this video. These two systems were great tutorials, and I was wondering if there was a way to combine them. I saw other people asking about it, so I decided to make this. Hope you all have a great day. This video is a combination of two videos by Matt Aspland, both the subtitle system and letter-by-letter text tutorial. Both of these videos are linked in the description, so this video explains how to combine those two systems and also how to manage dialog using spreadsheets and exported CSV files. Matt's YouTube channel is a great place to learn about Unreal Engine. Go ahead and show him some care and head over to his channel to subscribe for consistent, high-quality content.